Hello there, my name is Keith Hayden, and this is another episode of the Digital Novelist Podcast. This is going to be a behind-the-scenes recording, and this is day 131 of working on this supernatural horror novel, Gates of Okinawa. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about what happens when you burn out of your writing process and what to do about that and what I'm doing about it, because I've certainly reached a point in this project where, it's 131 days straight through lots of different stuff. And what happened this week really was one of those moments where, you question the whole thing. It even entered my mind. I saw the headline, "Should I quit my novel?" Yeah, and maybe that's a better title for this. What happens when you feel yourself wanting to quit? Because of many different factors. And I think the biggest thing that happened there were two big things that happened this week. One, I had computer problems, massive computer problems, to where for 2 days I just couldn't use it. So of course that doesn't mean I can't write. As you know, I write, or if you don't know, I often write using other methods. I'll write on my phone, I'll handwrite, just old school pen and paper. So it's not that I can't write without my computer, but the trouble comes when I can't do my outreach routine that I've gotten pretty accustomed to doing. Most of the outreach I do is through things like this podcast, I do a lot of social media with YouTube and X, and I've been putting a lot of videos out. And video is really the biggest thing that I lost out on. I find it really difficult to do without a computer. You can do some things on the phone, but it's just not as efficient. It's certainly, you just can't get into the level of depth. You really want to be working on a desktop once you start getting deep into video. So that was the biggest blow, and that was 2 days out of this week. So fortunately, that was a happy ending. I was able to get the computer fixed on my own and just continue on. But it was just 2 days there to where it was like, well, I don't know what's wrong with it. You're trying to troubleshoot. The thing keeps freezing, so you don't have time to troubleshoot. That type of thing. The other thing that happened was yesterday. Yesterday, I spent maybe 5 or 6 hours putting out, I'll use the content word, I'll use the C word. I spent 5 or 6 hours putting out various content. I did 2 small short live streams. I made a video. I did just across all of the domains that my writing, Japanese, and coding, my current 3 areas of focus right now. And I did a lot of videos. I want to say I did maybe 4 or 5 videos, and I put them on my X profile. I think one of them on YouTube. I did a whole writing behind the scenes. I actually recorded myself writing, which is not a very productive writing session for me, because I'm trying to record. I'm trying to make sure that it's watchable. I'm not just trying to sit there on camera. And I did this for about 5 or 6 hours, and yeah, the reception was I'm trying to think of a good word. Inert. Basically, there was 0 reception. Very little just traction. And it's been the same with my email list. I've been sending things out. I've learned that what people want now, and I think of just what I want, right? Like the days of just getting passive emails, and just, first of all, emails in general, we just get too many damn many of them these days. So for me to pay attention to an email or a course or whatever, even if it's free, it has to be something, one, that I'm really interested in, and it has to be something that just has to stand out. And I think that's me. And so as I'm creating emails for my email list and things like that, I'm trying to make it that way. So bottom line is I've been trying to make it more interactive. I've been asking for feedback. What do you want to see? What do you want? A couple of days ago, I was like, hey, I want to do a space on X with you guys about a topic related to writing, or I made like a laundry list of topics, and nobody responded. When I put in links to complete chapters in the past of this project, Gates of Okinawa, nobody responded. And this has been weeks of this. It's not like I tried it once and I'm like, okay, and I'm just dropping it. No, I'm trying it routinely. I'm asking for feedback. I'm asking, and I'm not getting anything. So when that hits you, you're like, okay, something's not working. And, I've been at this long enough, not just working on this project, but all my other previous projects and seeing stuff online and running a creative business, that type of thing, to where I'm like, okay, this isn't working. And so what? What then? What do you do? What do I do? The answer is I have no fucking clue. But I do know what I don't want to continue doing, which is doing the same thing that I've been doing, which is just keep mashing the gas, keep, so much time on social media, so much time making, just to even record this. I love doing audio. I wish I could just do audio on my own, like on its own. I wish I didn't have to fuck with videos. I've gotten decent enough at making videos that I can do it relatively quickly with a reasonable amount of quality, but I just hate making them. I hate that videos have become kind of the standard medium online these days, just because they're so much faster and easier to make and put out than they used to be. Because I just like audio more, but the problem is it's very difficult to just share, like record something like this and just share it and put it up. The sites for audio are just not very robust. They're not very user-friendly as far as from the technology side, and people are just less likely to fuck with it, just because there's a level of concentration that's higher, that's required when you listen to a podcast or something. When people listen to podcasts, like I'm a big podcast guy, and I know, like, I'm going in and I'm going to be there for a while. You're not casually taking in audio. Most people don't anymore, unless it's like a random music list. But they will with video. Video can catch your eye. That's why TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, all these things are so popular, because videos can catch your eye. They'll catch your eye and they'll have you for 30, 60 seconds, and that's why that format is so popular these days. But and I've experimented with all of these things. I've done a lot of them over the last 2 years, certainly over the duration of this project, and it's not working for me. And the thing is, you have to have a balance with these things. It's not just because a lot of people go in and they see the effectiveness of the medium, like something like TikTok or something, the traditional TikTok of short video clips. They see that, and then they're like, well, I need to be doing that because that's what people are doing. But then they make a ton of them, or they end up making just like mediocre quality ones just because they know the medium. But as far as being able to show up and do that, in addition to, especially when you're doing it like side content, like I am, the main content that I'm making is writing the novel. I have to keep that in my sights. And when I see myself spending more time making content, putting out this, editing videos, distributing, writing emails, that thing, then I have to, when I zoom out and do that math, it's like I wrote for 30 minutes this morning, and it's going to take me, I don't know how much longer this is going to be. How long is this? This is almost going on 10 minutes, so I'm going to cut it soon, but it's going to be 10 or 15 minutes of a recording. Then I'm going to have to upload it to my computer. Then I got to make a video of it if I want it to actually get seen. Then I got to publish it as a podcast. Maybe I'll publish it on YouTube. Maybe I'll publish it on X. And all that work amounts to way more time than I spent writing. And saying it out loud now, it just feels ridiculous. And I know, like, when I stop myself and be like, okay, how much time did I actually spend doing the thing? How much time do you spend doing the actual thing you want to do? Rather than, putting out content, putting it out, sharing it. And sharing is important. It is important. Like, I think about this all the time as a fiction writer. Most people, the reason why most people don't get on with their writing, maybe it's you, is because they just keep their shit to themselves. They don't know how to talk about it. They don't know how to share it in a way that's interesting. I do. I know how to put the stuff out there. I know the machine and the mechanisms and the tools to make my stuff consumable the way people consume it today. But damn, does it take a lot of time. And yesterday I spent so much time doing this content shit that I had to, when I, got up this morning, I was like, I don't like doing that. I became a novelist and I like writing fiction because I like writing fiction. I like telling stories. I don't like making content. I don't hate it, I've learned how to do it well enough, but yeah, that's not why I'm here. That's not where I want to spend the majority of my time. And so that's what led to this, the feeling for the first time. I think the first time it crept in was like, should I even keep going with this? Like, nobody cares about this story. It seems like they damn sure don't seem to care about this process. And maybe that's the whole point of it, Maybe it's not for other people. It has to be for me. At the end of the day, it has to be, that's the only way you can get through writing the novel. I mean, it's the same thing. With my first novel, there's that spark that says, I have to tell this story. Everybody else be damned. And I've read so much advice and watched so much advice that, if you want to actually sell something, you got to make something the world needs. You got to make something that people want to buy and blah, 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 this, that. I understand that shit. But you're not going to finish something like a novel. Like, you can do that with like a course or something that is, okay, maybe the time for incubation is a couple of weeks to a couple of months. But with a novel, we're talking months to years of effort, and I have to remind myself I've moved really fast with this novel. I'm writing the second draft now, and I got through the first draft in 56 days. That is a fucking record. But I don't want to just write what people want me to write. I want to write stories that are true to me, and I understand that means I'm going to take a hit. It's going to be harder to find the people that resonate with the story. I know that. I mean, I've lived that. That's exactly what I've been through with Sirius and Limnick, my first novel, and now the second one is no exception. But then I look at like just the shit that's out there, and I'm like, this shit found an audience, so why can't mine? And they weren't playing to people's expectations. They just, not everything, of course. Some things are definitely, a lot of things, I'll say, are manufactured these days, just to press certain buttons and fill certain nostalgia and certain genre requirements. I get that. And there are those tropes in my stuff too, but it is primarily purely original work. I guess I'll end this one, because I don't want it to go on too long, with, why did you start writing your story? What's the point of it? What were you trying to say? What were you trying to do? What were you trying to capture in the story? I think that's one of the things, after having written my first novel and going back, I've revisited Sirius and Limnick so many times in so many different ways, and one of the things I love about it is that it is a time capsule of geography, of psychology, of just where I was at in my life. And when I go back and read it, I see my struggles post-military. I see the relationship issues, and I feel like it's better for those things because I was definitely more in a place of struggle. And as you move up, it's not like you need to be a drunk, depressed, suicidal novelist. I think it's kind of a occupational trope that is popular. It's like the starving artist trope. To be a damaged artist, there certainly have been a lot of them, and a lot of famous ones, but you don't have to be. But for me, it does. For me, at least, it did provide a lot of fuel to be like, okay, this is the story I want to tell, and this is how I want to tell it. Not saying Gates of Okinawa doesn't have that, because struggle just looks different now. It's less mental and more circumstantial, just with having moved around a lot, and now telling the story. Now that I left Okinawa, I think that's one of the reasons why I was rushing to get it out, is because I knew after I was out of that energy, that space that I know I feel when I'm in Okinawa, that I'm not going to have that. And now that I've moved away, I have to work to keep that going. And luckily, it's so strong that I still feel it, even though I'm not physically there. But it is definitely more difficult to tap into that. And I feel like that was the main energy of that story. So that makes me want to work faster to get it out. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Digital Novelist. What do you think? Have you ever reached that point to where you wanted to quit your novel? It wasn't working in one way or another. The story wasn't working. You lost motivation. You lost the fire. You got caught up in, if you're doing a lot of social media stuff to do outreach, which most people aren't, but if you are, to where you got caught up in that shit and you just got distracted by something else that wasn't the story. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I hope you find the fire again. I hope I find the fire again. I feel like I think that's what separates me from a lot of people, is I can lose passion for something, but out of pure routine and it's just like a mechanical almost type of thing that I can get into, and I know I can get into that just from my time in the military, and even before when I was in the military. It was just, I can get into that. Okay, this is just a routine, and then eventually the routine does give way to finding the purpose again. But I feel like that's where I'm at. It's a very mechanical type of thing. It's a day in, day out. Do I still want to tell the story? I mean, thank God the first draft is done, because if I wasn't at the first draft and I was feeling like this, or if I didn't have the first draft, I might just think about dropping it. And you know what happens when you drop something? Like, it's sad, but you're probably never going to come back to it, at least not in the same way. If you do come back, no matter if you come back a week later or years later, it's going to be a different energy. You're going to be a different person, and the story is going to be different. It's going to change, and most likely you won't come back. You lose that window of creative energy. It's moved on. It's like the weather. It's changed, and you can't recreate the exact conditions that you were in when you started. So you really have to just hold on and find some way to keep coming back. But thanks for listening to this episode, and if you want more information about my work, if you're interested at all, just head over to keithhayden.net, and I'm going to be changing some of my offers. I think that's another thing that I've been frustrated with. I don't like doing this whole... I hate subscriptions. I've told you that. I don't like buying subscriptions. I don't like offering subscriptions with my shit, because it puts us both on a treadmill. You expect something, I got to keep putting it out. And I don't like that because I change my shit up so often. So I'm probably going to make it to where there's only a binary choice. If you're not, unless, you're talking about my individual books and novels, then those are just kind of a la carte. You got to go buy those. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have two extremes. I'm going to have one, or basically three. I'm going to have one free thing to where if you join Digital Novelist Explorer, it's going to be free. You're going to get access to all my tools, stuff that's helped me become a novelist, helped me get better, those types of things. You'll get my story generator that I created myself. And then there will be just a lifetime, if you want to subscribe to my stuff and just become a lifetime supporter, then you'll just get access to everything. And I'll always send you shit for free when I finish. And you'll get updates, regular updates on my work. Like, you'll just get the chapters for free. And then there'll just be the option to work with me if you want help. If you want help writing, if you want help promoting, if you want help just getting the word out about, if you're just starting, because I've been on this journey for a few years now. So that's another reason why I'm like, okay, I just gotta stay in the fight. But I understand what it's like when you're new and you don't know. You're just like, I've never done a novel before. This is hard. I'm lost in the story. These characters, they looking flat. The scenery is looking like a damn college play, amateur shit. Like, I want to get better, and then I want to actually sell. I actually want to make money with my work, and I'm interested in technology, whatever. Then we can talk about that, and that's gonna be so. It's gonna be those three things. I think I'm just gonna downsize. Yeah, I gotta get off of this content and shit. All right, thanks for listening to the Digital Novelist Podcast, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.